Hey everyone, in today's Wrath of Math lesson, we're going to talk about how to make ratio tables and how to plot the tables on the coordinate plane. This is a viewer-requested video. I always appreciate those viewer requests, so be sure to leave yours down in the comments. In a previous lesson, I introduced ratios, what they're used for, and some of their properties. I encourage you to check out that lesson if you need a refresher. I'll leave a link in the description. For this lesson, we're just going to go through two practice problems, so let's get right into it. I encourage you to try them both yourself before watching the video. So, for every cup of flour, 4 batches of cookies can be made. We want to create a table showing the batches of cookies that can be made with up to 5 cups of flour, and then we're going to plot the values on the coordinate plane. Remember that a ratio is just a way of relating two quantities. In this problem, we're given a ratio that with 1 cup of flour, we can make 4 batches of cookies. And oftentimes, if we already know the quantities being related, in this case cups of flour and batches of cookies, we don't have to write the units every time. So we might write this ratio in a more compact form as just 1/4. To create a ratio table, we create one row for the top quantity in our ratio, in this case cups of flour, and then another row for the bottom quantity, which is batches of cookies in this case. We title the rows in the first column so that we know what types of quantities we're relating, and then in the other columns we can express equivalent ratios between the quantities. So for example, in the first column we would put our given ratio, that with 1 cup of flour we can make 4 batches of cookies. Then, you may recall, I went over this in my first lesson on ratios, we can scale ratios up or down. For example, if we multiply the top number by 2 and the bottom number by 2, we'll get an equivalent ratio of 2/8. So, if 1 cup of flour is enough to make 4 batches of cookies, that means that 2 cups of flour is enough to make 8 batches of cookies. By scaling ratios up and down in this way, we can fill in a ratio table to find specific ratios that we're interested in. In this case, we want our table to show the batches of cookies that can be made with up to 5 cups of flour. So let's continue scaling our ratio. We just scaled our first ratio by multiplying both quantities by 2, giving us this new one that we can now put in the table. For 2 cups of flour, we can make 8 batches of cookies. As a quick reminder of why we can scale ratios in this way, let's just take a look at this picture. This expresses the first ratio we saw, that for 1 cup of flour, we can make 1, 2, 3, 4 batches of cookies. So that's a ratio of 1/4. Remember that this is another way we might express that ratio. Then, to scale the ratio up by a factor of 2, we could just make a duplicate of this picture to get a visual of what that looks like. And now we see that ratio that we saw above. For 2 cups of flour, we're able to make 8 batches of cookies. What I want to point out is that even after we scale this up, this picture still expresses the first ratio as well. It's still the case that for every 1 cup of flour, we get 4 batches of cookies. We can see that quickly by counting. We've got 1 cup of flour, 1, 2, 3, 4 batches of cookies, another cup of flour, 1, 2, 3, 4 more batches of cookies. So even after scaling the ratio up, it's still the case that for every 1 cup of flour, we get 4 batches of cookies. Just wanted to provide a visual to help justify why this makes sense. Now let's head back to our ratio table and quickly finish this up. All we have left to do is figure out how many batches of cookies we can make with 3, 4, and 5 cups of flour. One way we could figure out how many batches of cookies we can make with 3 cups of flour is to just scale up our original ratio. We know the ratio is 1/4. Then, if we scale this ratio up by a factor of 3, so we multiply both quantities by 3, we'll see that for 3 cups of flour, we're able to make 12 batches of cookies. That's 4 times 3. However, instead of using multiplication to get from this ratio to this ratio, we could also just use addition to get from this ratio to this ratio. Because going from 2 cups of flour to 3 cups of flour is an increase by 1 cup of flour. And we know from our original ratio that for every 1 cup of flour we can add 4 batches of cookies. So if we go up by 1 cup of flour, we would need to go up by 4 batches of cookies, and we would arrive at the same answer we just did, that 3 cups of flour will be enough for 8 plus 4, or 12 batches of cookies. And we could do the same thing to get from here to here. If we go up by 1 cup of flour from 3 to 4, then to keep the ratios equivalent, we need to go up by 4 batches of cookies. So 12 plus 4, that's going to give us 16. And then finally, how about 5 cups of flour? How many batches of cookies can we make if we've got 5 cups of flour? Again, we could figure that out any of the ways we've already discussed. We could scale up the ratio of 1 to 4, or since we had to add 1 cup of flour to get from 4 to 5, we could add 4 batches of cookies to get from 16 to 20. But we don't always have to add this original ratio. As long as we add equivalent ratios together, we'll just get another equivalent ratio. What do I mean by that? Well, instead of adding 1 cup of flour and 4 batches of cookies to 4 cups of flour and 16 batches of cookies, 2 plus 3 is 5, and that's the last column we've got to fill out, 5 cups of flour. We know that with 2 cups of flour, we can make 8 batches of cookies, and with 3 cups of flour, we can make 12 batches of cookies. So with 2 plus 3, or 5 cups of flour, we can make 8 plus 12, or 20 batches of cookies. So I hope that just shows you some of the different ways we can arrive at equivalent ratios. That might be useful if we weren't given the original ratio, and perhaps all we were given were these 3 ratios, and then we want to find how many batches of cookies we can make with 5 cups of flour. To figure that out, we could scale either of these ratios down, and then scale them back up to the quantity we want. But we wouldn't be able to scale just one of these ratios up easily because none of these numbers multiply evenly into 5. We could use decimals, but as long as we're trying to do this without a calculator, it might be best to avoid that if possible. And so in that situation, we could solve the problem by just adding these 2 ratios together. But enough of that, we have finished our ratio table, so let's switch over to graph paper and graph the values. So here we've got our XY plane. I've labeled the horizontal x-axis cups of flour, and the vertical y-axis will represent batches of cookies. You could put either quantity on either axis, it doesn't matter, but you're probably going to be expected to put the first quantity in your ratio in the x-axis. Since our cups of flour are just going up by 1, that will work fine for our units on the x-axis. So we'll start with 1, and then 2, and then 3, 4, and 5. Our batches of cookies, on the other hand, are going up by units of 4, so in order to make sure we have space for all of our points, let's go up by units of 4 on the y-axis. Then with our axes labeled, we can go ahead and plot these equivalent ratios in the plane. We know that 1 cup of flour will give us 4 batches of cookies, so we can plot that, go over to 1 on the cups of flour axis, and up 4 on the batches of cookies axis. It looks like we're going up 1, but remember our units are going up by 4 on the y-axis, so there is our first ratio. 1 cup of flour gives us 4 batches of cookies. And we proceed in the same way for all the other ratios. 2 cups of flour gives us 8 batches of cookies, 3 cups of flour will give us 12 batches, 4 cups gives us 16 batches, and 5 cups gives us 20 batches. Ratio tables should consist of equivalent ratios, so when you plot your table's values on an XY plane, you should be able to draw a straight line through the points. Of course, it won't be exact because your drawing won't be exact. But if it doesn't look like the points all fall on a line, then you might have gone wrong and should double check your ratios. For example, if I accidentally calculated that 5 cups of flour could give me 24 batches of cookies, then I would plot this point right up here, and that would look like a problem because I know I'm not going to be able to draw a straight line through all of those ratios. Alright, we spent a lot of time on that one, so we're going to go a bit quicker through this second and last example problem, and again, definitely recommend giving it a try yourself before watching the rest of the video. For every 5 lawns mowed, $30 are earned. We want to create a table showing the money earned for mowing 2 lawns specifically, and then plot the values on the coordinate plane. I don't necessarily want to encourage you to complain to your teachers, but if I was a student giving this question, I would complain because this question is really ambiguous. It just says, then plot the values on the coordinate plane, but we don't know what values it wants us to plot. We're only asked to find one specific value, which is the money earned for mowing 2 lawns. So what values are we supposed to plot? Well, thankfully, since I'm here narrating the video, I can decide that we're just going to plot whatever values we come up with while creating this table. Alright, so the initial ratio we're given is that for 5 lawns mowed, $30 are earned. So that's a ratio of 5 to 30. We'll put the lawns mowed row first in our ratio table, and then below that we have the dollars earned row. So we know if 5 lawns are mowed, we'll earn $30. I want to point out that in the previous problem, we started off with what's called a unit ratio. That's a ratio that's given in terms of a single unit. In other words, one of the quantities should be 1. Unit ratios are very handy, but we don't have a unit ratio now, so let's try to scale this ratio down to a unit ratio. In order to change the numerator of our ratio to 1, we would need to divide it by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Then, to keep the ratios equivalent, we would need to divide the denominator by 5 as well. 30 divided by 5 is 6, and then we see that is our unit ratio. So if we mow 1 lawn, we'll earn $6, and we can put that in our table. Now is a fine time to point out that we see a ratio table does not need to go up or down in any specific way. Our values don't need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, or anything like that. This is just a place to store information, so whatever information is useful for you to put in the table, you can put it in the table. The question is asking us to show the money earned for mowing 2 lawns. So now we'll want to scale our ratio up to 2 lawns. So we can multiply 1 lawn by 2, and that's going to give us what we want, 2 lawns. And then to keep the ratio equivalent, we need to multiply $6 by 2 as well, which will give us $12. Now, just for kicks, let's find one more additional ratio. What would we make if we mowed 3 lawns? In order to find that number, we could scale our unit ratio up by a factor of 3, or we could add these 2 ratios together, or we could subtract this ratio from this ratio. 5 lawns minus 2 lawns is 3 lawns, but if we mow 2 fewer lawns, we know from our ratio that we're going to make 12 fewer dollars. So we would make 30 minus 12, or $18. Now, I want to be very clear in this lesson when we're talking about adding or subtracting ratios, we're not really adding or subtracting fractions. So we might express the 5 over 30 ratio as a fraction like this, and we might express the 2 to 12 ratio as a fraction like that. What we just did to get to a ratio of 3 to 18 was not this. It was not the subtraction of fractions. Because all of these ratios are equivalent, if we subtract any 2 of them, we'll actually always get 0. And same thing with the ratio addition we did above. If we quote-unquote add these 2 ratios to get to this ratio, we're not adding 1/6 to 2/12. Instead, we're adding the individual quantities of lawns mowed and the individual quantities of dollars earned. And again, since all these ratios are equivalent, in the same way that subtracting 2 of them would result in 0, adding 2 of them would just double them. So 1/6 plus 2/12, for example, is equal to 2/6, which is 2 times 1/6. It's also equal to 4/12, which is 2 times 2/12. I understand if this seems a little confusing, and I encourage you to ask for any clarification you need down in the comments. Now, to finish things up, let's just plot these values on the coordinate plane. Our number of lawns mowed are 1, 2, 3, and 5, so again, going up by units of 1 on the lawns mowed axis will work just fine. Dollars earned, on the other hand, are going up by units of 6, which we can tell from our unit ratio. For every 1 additional lawn mowed, we make an additional $6. So let's go up by units of 6 on the dollars earned axis. And now we can plot the equivalent ratios. If we mow 1 lawn, we will make $6. So plot that point there. For 2 lawns, we'll make $12. For 3 lawns, we'll make $18, and for 5 lawns, we will make $30. And if it's bothering any of you, I suppose we can fill in the last column here. We can find out the number of dollars earned for mowing 4 lawns by simply doubling this ratio. So if we mow an additional 2 lawns to get to 4 lawns mowed, we would make an additional $12 to get to $24 earned. And that would be this point right here. Again, we see that we can draw a straight line through these points, so we can be pretty confident they are indeed equivalent ratios. I know lots of you might be asked to do this stuff in a class. I just want to point out there's nothing special about ratio tables. We could easily get all of this information without a table, and personally, I would probably never use the table. It's just a way to organize your information. So if it's helpful for you and it helps you organize your thoughts and not make any mistakes, that's great and you should use it. But otherwise, there's no particular reason to use it unless you're being forced to for a grade. Anyways, this lesson was way longer than I expected. I hope it helped you understand how to create ratio tables and graph them in the coordinate plane. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, need anything clarified, or have any other video requests. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time, and be sure to subscribe for the swankiest math lessons on the internet.
The situation's how you